It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Divas That Care. My name is Candace Gish. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's program. We have an amazing guest returning to the program, and I'm so excited to be chatting with her today. If this is your very first time tuning into the Divas That Care, a huge welcome to each and every one of you. The Divas That Care is now in its 11th season, and we are listened to in over 30 countries around the world. So thank you guys all so much for checking us out. All right, everyone, let's get started. Today's guest I'm welcoming back is Jessica Friesen. Jessica, welcome back. I'm so excited to talk to you again.
Hi, Candace. How are you? I'm so excited to be back.
Oh, my goodness. It's hard to believe that it is fall, and so much has happened, I think, in your life and in my life, but I'm just so excited to be chatting with you today. But before we kind of get into that, Jessica, would you mind kind of reintroducing yourself to our new listeners?
Absolutely. So I'm a bit of a jack of all trades. I am a registered nurse on paper, but I haven't done that in many years. I am the third generation owner-operator of my family's petroleum company. So that's a really fancy way of saying that I own a chain of gas stations and convenience stores and petroleum delivery in Ontario, Canada. I am a chartered director. I do a lot of board work, and I am a newly published author talking about my personal struggle with postpartum depression, and I've become a mental health activist because of it.
You are amazing. You definitely are a jack of all trades. You're very diverse on the things that you do.
Try not to get bored. You know, I get bored easily, so I keep a lot of balls in the air a lot of the time. So I enjoy it.
I can relate to that completely. I love it.
I think all women can. We all know how to do it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, Jessica, what have you been up to this last couple of months here?
Yeah, so I'm so excited to be back. I think the last time that I was on, we were talking about entrepreneurship and female-led business, and I was just about to publish my first book, and that book did publish at the end of June, and really I've been very focused on my advocacy, I'm blogging now. I'm super excited. I'm all over social media now. The book is going really, really well. I've had a lot of interest in it. It's on several bookstores online now. It's on Amazon. And I'm really, Candace, I turned 40 last week. And it's a bit of a big birthday for me, at least. I was really excited about it, but I really took it seriously that, this was kind of where I always expected midlife to be. And I'm really looking at the next 40 years and what am I going to be doing over the next 40 years? And I want to start really significantly giving back and empowering other people and leaning on the learnings that I have accomplished over the years and providing to the people that are following in my footsteps, my children and my friends and, young women and young men that I'm mentoring in the community. And so really that's I guess, the biggest indicator of what I'm doing these days is anything that's going to make a difference in somebody else's life is something that I'm interested in.
You're amazing, and that's why I love having you on the program. You're a very inspiring woman, and it's great to hear all this because you're right. As a woman, I find that we're very diverse in the things that we're doing, especially as entrepreneurs, and we're the women that listen to our podcast. That's what they're like, and they're like, okay, I'm not abnormal. This is normal.
Absolutely.
A lot of people are like me.
It's funny you say that, and I think that's something that's so important because, as females, as women, I don't know about you, but when I was young, a child, I was told to, be kind and be quiet and, act like a lady. And part of that was not being bossy and not being too vocal and not being a leader, which is exactly what I am. And I think that we need to change the perspective and change the dialogue when it comes to young women and show them that, you know, being overt is not necessarily being bossy. You're a leader. Embrace that. Be tactful. Be respectful. But you're a leader, so own it.
That's exactly it. And I think in the back of my head, I started the Divas That Care because of that reason. You know, being the mom of my four divas, I call them, you know, that's why I wanted them to say, you know what, you can use your voice for change and you can do the things that you need to do and be powerful and own it. So I love it when, you know, you're saying that, because that's exactly the validation, because I really believe in that also.
Absolutely. And, you know, the only people that you're going to offend are people who are self-conscious of themselves. Other people will look to you as that leader, and they will be inspired by you. They will be driven by you. They will learn something from you, and they will take it positively. And, you know, again, I'm getting older, and I've just learned that I want to surround myself by positive people and positive influences, and I want to be a positive influence. And that if I could turn it back, you know, 20, 25 years, I would have told 15-year-old Jess exactly that.
That's awesome. Well, now that you're mentoring and you're doing all this other stuff, now you can inspire the next generation, which is absolutely fantastic. So, Jessica, tell me, you started a podcast. I'm really interested in your podcasting and your speaking engagements. Tell us about that so our listeners can check that out.
Yeah, so I haven't started a podcast. I started a blog. So you can check the blog out on my website. It's jessicagale.friesen.com. Okay. Gale is spelled Gale. So I'm doing that. That's on a weekly basis. We're looking at ramping that up, actually, because it's gotten so much good feedback to twice a week now. But I'm doing a lot of speaking. So I'm joining a lot of people that are just like you, Candace, you know, giving the people that are making a difference some kind of audience to speak to, so that they can continue doing the great things that they are doing. And I'm just so lucky that I have people in my life that appreciate what I'm doing and see what I'm doing and are there to support me. And that really is so important, because sometimes you really do feel like you're alone out there on an island, and, you know, you're working hard and you wonder if people notice. But, you know, I'm so thrilled with the attention that my actions have been gaining. And I'm very proud of what I've been able to accomplish, and where I'm going is going to be even better. So I'm really awesome. Going on any podcast, any interviews that I possibly can, and I'm looking at, you know, writing for. I've written for different magazines and things now, specifically talking about mental health. There's been a lot of mental health, but also, you know, I have other things to offer as well. You know, I'm the leader of a large company in Ontario. I'm a female entrepreneur. I'm, like I said, a jack of all trades. I'm a charter director. You know, there's a lot of areas that I'm really, again, looking at mentoring and giving back to people. And I think that's really, as 40-year-old Jess, what I want to do.
Mm-hmm. And a big shout out to all those podcasts and all the areas that you're writing at. Can our listeners go and listen to those specific podcasts off your website? You know, is there a specific thing that we can kind of send people to?
Yeah, you can actually go on my Facebook page, would be the best place to find it right now. Again, it's Jessica Gale Friesen, Gale, and then the last name is Friesen. Everything is listed there. My website is up. We're kind of tweaking it as things go along, but you know, honestly, I've been so busy that the website's a little bit lagging. You know what it's like. You get busy with other stuff. So, but the best place is my Facebook. Everything is kept up to date there.
Oh, I think that's fantastic. And I'll make sure that we post that on our social media after the program so that our listeners can go and check that out, because I think it would be great for them to listen to you on other podcasts, to you know, be able to read all of your writing, like everything you wrote out there. Also, I want to talk about your book again, because we did talk about that briefly on our last program. Let's chat about that today, because I think I want to, you know, talk to our listeners, or have our listeners learn about this and how they can go pick it up too.
Absolutely. So 14 years ago, when I had my first child, my son, I suffered from significant postpartum depression for the first 6 months. And I mentioned I had been a registered nurse. Being a registered nurse, I really felt that I should have known what I was going through at the time. And part of what I struggled with was not being able to recognize what I was dealing with, not realizing how significant my challenges were, and I hid it so well that those around me didn't realize what I was going through either. I was very, very controlled. I stayed in my house all day, every day. Everything was very scheduled. And it was because that was the only measure of control that I could possibly gain. And so fast forward 14 years, and I feel that it's an area of motherhood or parenthood, really, that people just don't talk about. Everybody talks about, the wonderful parts of being a parent. And there are zillions of things that are just so wonderful about being a parent. It's the best job that I've ever had. But that's not to say it's easy. That's not to say it's always fun. And it is really hard sometimes. And I want to make sure that young people these days, or people who are having children, go into it without the blinders on and realize that postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, postpartum psychosis are all very real things that you should be aware of when you are considering having a child. Not that you should be scared of them, but just prepare yourself. Be ready for it. You're already looking into researching, what is best for the baby in terms of food and diapers and sleep schedules and everything. Look into this as well for yourself, because you have to take care of yourself first. And I think that my story, I am a person that learns through hearing stories about others. And so I wrote my story down, and it's a memoir. It's my memoir. It's exactly what happened in the months of my pregnancy and the 6 months after having my son. And I wrote it as easy to read as possible. It is an easy read. It's only about 150 pages, but it's a really concise little book that I hope makes people feel like they are not alone, and that they shouldn't be scared, and that they should reach out and find the help that they need. And if at all possible, prepare for it so that you do recognize what you're going through if that happens to you. I think that's absolutely crucial. And if I can make one suggestion, I really think that the book is more for the support around the mother than the mother herself, because the people around her will see how she's responding to the new baby and supporting the new baby. Whereas she may not, if she's anything like me, I didn't see what I was going through. I'm a person that just, puts my nose to the grindstone and keeps going and just gets my job done. I didn't see what I was going through at that time until after it was over.
Yes. Well, and I that's exactly what I wish I would have had a book like that, honestly, to be able to have read that, because I had no idea. I had all these emotions, and Jessica, I just want to let you know that the book is amazing, and I think that all of our readers need to go and check it out. Even if you've already had your children, and you're just like, oh, I wasn't alone. I felt that. That's my experience too. I think women in general need to get together and realize that this is part of the journey. Some of us feel this way, and some of us go through these emotions that we didn't really expect.
Absolutely. And you hit the nail on the head there. I can't tell you how many grandmothers actually have read it and come to me saying, wow, I felt similar things when I had my children, but back then we didn't have a name for it. I didn't know what it was. Yes. I was just told to keep going. And as women, that's what we do, right? We manage the house, we manage the work, we just keep moving, and we have to stop sometimes and make sure that we're taking care of ourselves first.
We forget that, don't we?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I love it. And you know what, I'm really excited to, really support you in that endeavor and, share that book on our social media because I think it's really important. We did upload it onto our Divas bookstore.
Yes,
I thought
and thank you for that.
For everybody. Oh, as I said, it's an amazing book, and I really, really believe that all women should read it. It's something that I want my daughters to read when they get to that stage in their lives, too, that I think it's something they need to be aware of.
Thank you. Yeah, it's called This Will Not Break Me, under my author name of Jessica Gale Friesen. It's on Amazon, and you can also find it on my website as well.
Fantastic. And Jessica, you've had a great summer, though. Let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk about the balance of people's lives and how important it is to, take time for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. So for the very first time in my life, I took 2 weeks off. And my husband and I bought a trailer, like that attaches to our pickup truck, and we took our children and we went around Georgian Bay, which is, kind of middle of Ontario, and we took 2 weeks. We actually went with my sister and her family as well, and it was amazing. After 18 months of not having any time off, to be able to take 2 weeks and get my head back right and not stress about anything and have the biggest worry that I had was, what are we going to eat tonight? It was just phenomenal.
Fantastic.
And I was so worried about it because as you're running your business and I'm one that wants to be here just in case somebody needs me. But everything went so well, and it really shows that I have a phenomenal team in my office as well who is there to support me and who is capable of handling things if something were to happen to me. So that gave me a lot of solace as well.
I bet it did. And how did you feel when you came back to work?
So refreshed. It was so wonderful. It really let me clear my head, get my head screwed back on straight, and come back rejuvenated and ready for September and what September was going to bring, because I knew that I was going to be getting busy with the blog and podcasts and everything else, and I really am. So it worked out so well. I would totally recommend it to anybody if you're able to.
I agree with you completely with that, because I think that we all need that break just to refresh ourselves. And, we realize that a lot of our listeners aren't able to take that much time off. But if you even have an afternoon, a couple of hours just to breathe, I think that's so important.
It's so important for your mental health. And, Candace, this week is Mental Health Awareness Week in Canada, so it's so apropos that we are talking about this. It's absolutely crucial to take time for our own mental health, and whether that means taking a vacation or, taking an hour out to have a coffee on your back porch or read a book or go to the gym or whatever it is for you that you want to do, it's so important to take time for yourself and make sure that you're mentally strong. And we forget about that too easily because it's not something that we can visualize. It's not something that we see, not like a broken bone or a cold or cancer.
And I feel that a lot of us have been going through a lot of that in the last 18 months. There's a lot of changes in our lives, and now we're figuring this out. And that kind of leads me into what I want to talk about the last of this program. Is there any tips and tools that we can leave our listeners?
I think the biggest thing is taking time to really plan your day as much as possible and give yourself a few things that you can accomplish so that at the end of the day, and they could be small things, but give yourself a few things that are goals for that day so that you can look back and feel accomplished in some way. So whether that's like this morning, I realized that I hadn't made my lunch for the day. So one of my goals was, getting up early enough to make my lunch, to eat my lunch at my office because it's healthier than, picking up something, McDonald's or something. And then, tonight I'm going to go home and I'm going to make dinner. And those are my 3 goals for today, just because, it worked out for me. And tonight, hopefully I'll be in bed at a reasonable time. But it doesn't have to be huge goals. It just has to be something that you feel like you can control. I said to my husband last week, I want to go to bed at 9:30 every night. That doesn't mean I'm going to sleep. I will probably read my book for half an hour to an hour, but I want to be in bed with my makeup off, with my PJs on, and take time for me that way. And that's another goal that, you know, if I can accomplish that, or even if I can get to it by 9:45, then I feel like I've accomplished something. And I think it's so important that we all feel accomplished in some way every day.
I love that. Do you find it's important to write these little goals down?
I think it's better. I certainly think it's better. You know, most of us have phones these days where we can just throw it in there, or I actually carry a really pretty little notebook around with me where I write down all of my, you know, little ideas, especially ideas for blogs and social media posts. And I'm writing another book, so, you know, just little ideas for that as well. And it's just something that I keep in my purse, and it's, you know, kind of a special little thing that makes me smile, and it has all of my musings in it. So. Oh,
I like that. Because we talk a lot about gratitude journals on this program. You know, we've talked about, you know, stress management and different things, you know, planning meals. We had a program on that recently. I find it's really important for myself. I've always been such a visual person. And if I write things down, I just feel so much better because it's like it's out of my brain and I don't have to feel like I have to keep it in there.
Yep, and you don't have to worry about forgetting it. And again, you can put that little check mark beside it as soon as you've done it, and you can feel accomplished as soon as you put another check mark down.
And I think sometimes that's all we need is just some days are very difficult to get through. But if we feel like we need to accomplish one certain thing, then it makes all the world a difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with that entirely. You know, we go through bad days. We go through bad weeks. Last week was not a great week for me. You know, just a lot of challenges came my way. But at the end of the week, you know, you look back and try to pick out the good things that did happen and look on the good side of things and, you know, see the silver linings in everything.
I love that. That is beautiful. It is just so true. And I think I love hearing that all the time. You know, if we can have more people sharing that thought, then I think other people will realize that it's okay. You know, we all have these bad days. My motto in life is just keep swimming. People laugh and I'm like, I love that. Story was my inspiration. Just keep swimming, just keep swimming. And, you know, I've lived my life that way because there are different things that happen and, you know, we just have to keep going through it and living our lives.
And that's one of the reasons actually, Candace, why I started the blog is because there's so much out there that looks like perfection. And I'm thinking of like social media influencers that are out there, you know, they always look put together. They always look perfect. That's just not the reality. So I really wanted to put something out there that is honest and real and people feel that they can relate to, you know.
That's exactly what our world needs. Thank you so much, Jessica. As I said, you inspire me and you're so empowering, and I'm so, so thankful that you've come back on the Divas, and I hope that you come back on again in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I just love joining you.
Well, it's my pleasure. As I said, I loved your book, and I'm going to be sharing that with all of our listeners today. I'm going to be posting that on our social media. I think it's really important that you go check out everything that Jessica is doing. She is an amazing woman. And Jessica, I should ask you, you said that before I kind of end the program here, you were mentioning that you do a lot of mentoring. Is that something that, if our listeners were interested in having you mentor them, is that something that you're interested in?
Absolutely. And they can email me, actually, through my website. There's a contact us form on there, and I would be happy to chat with anybody. I'm open.
That's wonderful. And I think that you would be a fantastic mentor to so many amazing women out there. So thank you again, Jessica, for being on my program today.
Thank you, Candace. Have a great day.
You also. And a huge shout out to all of our listeners. You know, as I said, it's because of all of you that we've continued to do this program. It's because of all of you that I have the opportunity to meet and chat with amazing women like Jessica. And I love having the opportunity to connect with our listeners. You know, thank you so much for all of you that have commented, liked our programs, and that you're sharing them. Like, we really appreciate each and every one of you. Again, this has been a great program. I'm going to be posting this on all of our social media, so make sure that you share this with all your friends and check out our book, check out our website, and check out her Facebook, and then listen to all the other podcasts that she has been on. As I said, you will be inspired like I am. I hope that everybody has a fantastic day and that you make sure that you do something kind. Until next time, everyone.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.